Hey folks, Mark here from Sea World Earth, and today again we're going to be looking at video lighting, but today we're going to be looking at the Godox VL150. Let's hit it. Now the one thing I do like about this particular light is this. It comes with this it comes with this awesome carry pack, a little padded case. I've actually had this light for about a year now, or just over a year, so this is a review after having used it extensively in that time for a number of applications, mostly indoors in the studio, but a couple of times also outdoors. So let's get in and see what we get for our money. Now this thing at the moment is retailing I believe for about $399, and especially if you're starting out with a new YouTube channel, this is something that is absolutely perfect for you. It's not expensive, but it is highly performant, and hopefully, as you'll see through the review, it is something that should appeal to anyone just starting out. Now, just from the outset, I must say that I'm not sponsored in any way, shape or form by Godox. I bought this with my own money, so I'm not bound to say anything good, bad or indifferent about the product. Anyway, let's take a look and see what we get. Okay, so what do we get in the bag? First off, we have a reflector. We also have the light itself. Awesome. We have the main control box, the power unit, the mains power cord, the cable between the light and the power controller, and now there's also a shoulder strap that you can use with the bag if you want to, although I've only ever really used the handles. And then you do have a little remote control, okay, that's powered by a couple of AAA cells. Now I'm not going to be demonstrating this today because it actually doesn't work anymore. I don't know why, just one day it gave up the ghost, new batteries, just didn't want to turn on anymore. But one point with this controller, with the remote controller, is that although as you'll see, the power manipulation of the light, you can change power in increments from 0 to 100 in steps of 1%. When you use the manual or the remote controller, it will only allow you to go down to 10%. And a couple of times it actually got stuck on 25% as well, and I couldn't manipulate it down any further with the controller. So let's look at all of these items individually, starting with the light. Okay, so the light head itself, very good build quality, nice and strong. It's got this main yoke around here that allows you to diversify how you mount the light itself. It can either stand traditionally on a traditional light stand method, or you can either have it on a rod hanging from another configuration. So it's just obviously down to the user how it is they want to use it, underslung, etc, etc. I've never had any problems with fitting this thing, and it does have this mechanism to lock it all down, which is amazingly strong. I mean, you really crank it down and that guy is not going anywhere, so very good build quality on that. Okay. Also the system, now it does, I mean, you can tell by the design, holes everywhere, even on the back, all perforated. It is pretty much a big heat sink, the whole system, but it does actually also have a fan just in the bottom here, and that it's not really too much of an issue. I've never really had an issue with fan noise. Even when it does kick in, it's never been enough to really have too much of an impact on the audio that I may be recording if I'm shooting here in my very small studio / office. So the fan isn't really an issue, and also it doesn't really kick in until you get to beyond about 45% power over an extended period. If I'm working normally, if I'm lighting myself with this in the studio, because I shoot at a relatively wide aperture, I'm only using this thing at about 25% of its power, and there's never an issue with the fan kicking in. If some of you actually watched my last video about the Aputure Amaran ALF7, the little handheld LEDs, that's actually what I'm filming myself with now. That's what I'm using as a key light now. Now you may have noticed, if you did see that video, that the example that I gave with setting up a key light using the Amaran was a little bit harsh. I've since played around with it and come up with a setting which I find to be quite pleasing quite now. And I've also got a little blue LED accent now, which is the Amaran MC LED, not the MC Pro, which has just been released. But anyway, I divulge. Getting back to the lamp, it is a Bowens mount. Okay, so the mounts are attached and released using this little release catch here, and it does come with a protective guard over the cob LED. Okay, and to release that, all you do is you pull back on that retaining spring, give it a twist, and then it will just quite easily come off. Okay, well, the light itself has a weight of 1.97 kilos. The CRI, or the colour rendition index characteristic, is displayed as 96, which translates as excellent. The TLCI is 95, and it has a lux reading at 1 metre of 61,000 using the reflector, and 6,400 just on the bare bulb. Okay, so again, lots of light at just 1 metre distance. Okay, next up we have the reflector. Now, it is a newer version of the reflector, and this one, if you don't use any kind of modifier on the light in order to dull down the light when you shine this on a wall, there is actually more of a kind of like a hot spot in the middle area, with a more softer light on the outside. So if you're looking for kind of like a spotlight effect, then this is your guy. And quite simply, it fits on because of the Bowens system. Okay, it just fits on quite simply with each one of the little nodules fitting into one of the holes, and then give it a twist, and that's it in place. Okay. Alright, next up we're going to be looking at the power controller. Okay, it is actually quite a robust unit. Let me just get that out of the way. And it does have actually on the back here a place for a V-mount if you want to run a V-mount, which is especially good if you're going to go outside, do an outside broadcast. I've only ever had to use it a couple of times outside. I generally prefer to use it in the studio setting, but that does work very well with the V-mount there. But it does chew through the V-mounts pretty quick, so make sure you've got a good supply of them. Another thing that I really like on the feature of this is the fact that it's got this really strong kind of like nylon hanging thread here that you can then just hang it onto a tree or onto a tripod or onto a component that you've got close at hand in the studio when you want to control the light settings. Because you can run it using an app, you've also got Wi-Fi, you've got these antennas that will allow you then to reach it with your cell phone, with whatever system you're running the app with. Okay, so to turn the system on, you just push the power button for a couple of seconds, and that will then illumine the interface. You can see here, battery indicator top left. It is a fixed Kelvin light, so it's not bi-colour, so it's always at 5600 Kelvin. And the light itself has 16 channels and 6 groups, and this is for if you have multiple lights and you want to have set a scene with different lights on different powers. You can use the app, the Godox app, to wirelessly set those settings with each light on a different channel and group, so that you don't change all of the lights at the same time. The brightness power increments are in steps of 1%, and you can manually spin them on the main jog dial, as you can see here, or if you want to use the little Wi-Fi controller you can, bearing in mind that once you get to 10% you can't go any lower on that, and it did actually sometimes get stuck at 25%. I generally work at about 45% or lower, and that way I don't seem to incur any of the fan noise. Now, I'm not going to go into too much length to put all of this together. You can see in all of the videos that I do, that I shoot otherwise on the channel here, that I am actually lit with this system. The big question, would I buy it again? Absolutely, in a heartbeat. I believe there is actually a newer system out now, but this light, I normally use it with a 48-inch softbox or modifier that has 2 layers of diffusion, like an internal baffle and then a main diffusion on the outside of the light box, and it works absolutely perfectly. I don't have, what I regret not getting is actually I don't have a honeycomb for it to really direct the light onto me, because now what happens is the light, when it turns on, it pretty much fills the studio, and so anything that I try doing with regards to accent lights in the background, the effect of those generally tends to get kind of like swamped up or eaten up with the overbearing light, even at low power, with the VL150. So far, I mean, it's never missed a beat. It's always worked well for me, and I don't really see a problem moving forward with it. And strongly I suggest that if you are just setting out, it's a light that you can get to grips with very easy, without the need for expensive light stands or modifiers. Just get a nice little modifier for it and you should be golden. You can actually get other modifiers for it as well, snoots and things like that, for doing specific kind of looks with your imaging, but that would obviously be down the road a bit. So there you go, folks, that was the VL150 from Godox, the video light. I like it, I love it. I'm probably going to keep using it until it dies. I don't see any reason to replace something that's working perfectly for me. But yeah, until the next time, I'm going to love you and leave you. Please, if you haven't already, please do subscribe to the channel, and also hit that notifications bell so that you'll be updated as and when new content is available from yours truly. But until that time, folks, stay happy, safe, sane, and well, and get out there shooting. And as I always say, if you want to share your images with me, please do so, and I'll happily share them with the viewers as well. So take care, all the best, see you soon.